From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, April the 17th, 2025. The IDF yesterday provided a summary of the resumed precise operation in Gaza, which it began on March the 18th, saying in total approximately 1,200 terrorist targets, including terrorist tunnel routes, have been struck from the air by 350 fighter jets and aircraft of the Israeli Air Force, saying 100-plus targeted eliminations have been carried out, and hundreds of terrorists and military commanders from terror organizations in Gaza have been neutralized, and that 15 company commanders and additional terrorists who infiltrated Israeli territory on October the 7th were among those eliminated, vowing the IDF will continue to operate against Hamas wherever necessary. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last night said he held an assessment on the issue of the hostages still being held by Hamas in Gaza with the negotiating team and the heads of the security establishment, and that he issued directives for the continuation of the steps to advance the release of our hostages, he said. The 59 hostages still being held by terror group Hamas in Gaza have now been captive for 559 days. And protests against Hamas took place in Gaza yesterday. While a very rare occurrence, similar rallies were seen just about a month ago. Hundreds of residents of Beit Lahia in the northern Gaza Strip took to the streets yesterday, some holding signs saying, "We want to live in freedom," and chanting, "No to terror, yes to peace," and Hamas out. Well, turning now to the U.S. with more on the possible motive of the man suspected of setting fire to the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Local news outlet Penn Live reported that according to a state police warrant, the suspect targeted the Jewish governor based on perceived injustice to the Palestinian people, reportedly saying that Shapiro should, quote, "stop having my friends killed," unquote. The fire caused extensive damage to the governor's mansion just hours after he hosted a Passover Seder there. And state police are reportedly still weighing whether to charge the suspect with ethnic intimidation in addition to the array of other charges that he faces. Consul General of Israel in New York, Ambassador Ophir Akunis, wrote to the governor expressing shock and sadness over the arson attack and relief that he and his family were unharmed. Akunis said this appalling act of violence, carried out during one of the most meaningful nights of the Jewish calendar, could have resulted in a far greater tragedy. We commend law enforcement for their swift and effective response, and we stand in full solidarity with you and your family. On behalf of the State of Israel, we wish you continued strength, safety, and good health. Anti-Semitic vandalism was discovered at Northwestern University earlier this week, including the words "Death to Israel" spray-painted on a school building. President Professor Michael Schill, who is Jewish, said that early Monday morning, a group of individuals vandalized several buildings on our Evanston campus, spray-painting anti-Semitic slogans and hate-filled language. The fact, he said, that these acts occurred during the commencement of the Passover holiday makes these disgusting statements all the more despicable. Anti-Semitic acts cannot and will not be tolerated at Northwestern. He said the school was working to identify those responsible and that if they are current Northwestern students, they will immediately be suspended and face full disciplinary proceedings as well as criminal charges. Schill noted that he hosted a Seder in his home just hours before the vandalism took place. The Anti-Defamation League said it was sickened by the incident, saying, "We appreciate the university's quick response and are disappointed by those who can't seem to find their voice when Jews on campus are continuously targeted." U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem yesterday announced the cancellation of 2 DHS grants totaling over $2.7 million to Harvard over its handling of anti-Semitism on its campus, saying Harvard bending the knee to anti-Semitism, driven by its spineless leadership, fuels a cesspool of extremist riots and threatens our national security. With anti-American, pro-Hamas ideology poisoning its campus and classrooms, Harvard's position as a top institution of higher learning is a distant memory. She said America demands more from universities entrusted with taxpayer dollars. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, April the 17th at 7 o'clock, Pam Cohen and Ephriam Kholmyansky discuss the historic struggle of Soviet Jewry with Glenn Richter and Micah Halpern. At 8, it's part 1 of Jonah Platt's Sit Down with author Dara Horn. At 9, JCC Budapest leader Zsuzsa Fritz is on L'chaim. At 10, David Harris is joined by international human rights lawyer Arson on defending Israel. At 10:30, it's an encore of the news. And coming up next, David Harris offers reflections for Passover, drawing on the holiday's enduring themes of freedom, resilience, and Jewish identity. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, April the 17th, 2025. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.